It's been good in a kind of a crazy week that we've been living in to have that moment where we're there at the throne. It's been good. Also, Bridget, thank you for leading that this morning. In addition, I think it's good for us to be able to see that we're a part of a body that really cares, that really is about doing. And so one of the things that we want to try to do more often in this space as well is to take an opportunity to hear more about what we're doing in service and volunteering. And so we're going to be taking some times in Sabbath morning right before Mike talks to do what we're going to call show and well. So, yeah. But it is amazing how much this community is doing, and oftentimes we don't get to hear about it. And so I've had the real itch to want to hear from it, and so I pitched this idea to our leadership team about just taking the opportunity to have some moments where we get to talk to you guys and see what you're doing in the community. And so thankfully, we have Jenny, who has volunteered so graciously to be our first show in Wellie. We're going to get into what she's volunteered in just a second, questions. But first of all, thank you for being willing to do this. So for people that don't know you, give us a little bit about yourself, name, background, how long you've lived in kind of the Chattanooga area.
Well, as you...
Is it switched? Is it switched? Okay.
Well, I'm Jenny.
Yeah, it's on. We just
okay.
Might have to.
I actually moved to Chattanooga. Gosh, I was trying to think. It was July of 23, or end of June of 23. So I've been here. What is that? Almost 2 years. I moved from the Chicagoland area. I had an opportunity with my job being 100% remote to kind of live wherever I wanted, and I visited Chattanooga and fell in love with it. And actually, on one of my first visits to Chattanooga, I came to the well, and you all welcomed me so much, being a stranger, and I never forgot it. It just kind of stuck a little bit in my heart when I was looking at other cities, and decided to move here. So thank you to everyone here who welcomed me that day. I felt like even though I didn't really have anyone in the Chattanooga area that I knew prior to moving here, I felt like I could take a chance knowing that there was a community here that would welcome me in. So thank you.
Yeah, welcome still. And so it's been about 2 years, I guess, since you've been attending. So just kind of a follow-up question. I mean, you touched on it there for just a second, but what was the thing that kind of attracted you to the well here?
Well, it really was the friendliness. I mean, you guys knew immediately that I was a guest, and that was really important. In fact, Lane and Rich were greeters that day, and sat me at a table and introduced me to some people, and I got into some conversations. And then they were generous enough to invite me back to their house for a gathering that they were having, which, coming from Chicago, was like, what? Like, but I was like, I said yes, and I'm really glad I did, because it was a really wonderful afternoon. But I knew I wanted to attend church when I was visiting, but I literally picked the well off of like a Google map. I think I went to the website and I watched like a brief video that Pastor Mike was speaking to, and I'm like, well, this seems cool. I'll just go and check it out. And it turned out to be such a blessing. So.
Awesome. So the reason why we're interviewing you today is specifically about your volunteering with Welcome Home. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that organization? And give us a little background about what Welcome Home is for those who might not know.
Well, you guys introduced me to Welcome Home because we did a service project there last year, I think, where we were doing a little cleanup and gardening and moving some stuff out of one of their homes that they have on the property, and we did like a little barbecue. And I just started talking to the folks that worked there. I live, maybe about 10 minutes from Welcome Home, and I was looking to start volunteering. I felt like I had gotten settled a bit here. And I just asked them, what could I do? And so I started volunteering shortly thereafter when we were there. So I actually was really attracted to their ministry. I feel like it's very unique. In fact, I don't even know if we have anything like this even in the Chicago area. But what Welcome Home does is they provide shelter and care for men and women who are homeless but have been diagnosed with a terminal illness, which is sort of like a gap if you think about it. There are shelters in the city probably that provide basic shelter for homeless individuals, but what happens if they're diagnosed with a terminal illness? How do they get care? How do they get treatment? How do they get care after treatment? And so Sherry, who founded Welcome Home, saw that gap and decided to fill it. And what's unique about Welcome Home is that it's not like your typical shelter or group home. They really wanted to provide family-style care to these individuals. So it's not just providing for their medical needs and giving them actual basic shelter over their heads, but it's making sure they have meals, making sure that they have support with benefits, making sure that they are loved. And a lot of times they're also helping them to reunite with family members, with people that may have been in their lives at one point, and to kind of help provide some additional healing. So they have 4 bedrooms on site in their main house. That's for individuals who are receiving end-of-life care. And then they have 2 homes on the property that have 3 bedrooms that provide shelter for people who are in cancer respite. So they're going through treatment. The good news is some of those folks graduate from that program. They get the treatment they need, they get stabilized, and then Welcome Home helps to find them affordable care or affordable living situations beyond Welcome Home. And it's always nice when there's a graduate that gets to go back out into the community. So yeah, I felt like it was just a really beautiful ministry, the way they love on these people that wouldn't have had anybody else to help them and take care of them. So
yeah, they're the more I get to know about their ministry, it's just amazing all the things that they're doing. Speaking of which,
actually I should add, it's their 10-year anniversary, and I found out that in the 10 years that they've been in existence, they've helped, I think, 142 individuals receive care. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty good milestone for them.
So kind of with the knowledge of what they're doing for the community, what has kind of been your kind of favorite experience as you've volunteered there?
Well, I suppose it's not really down to one particular thing. It's been observing how they have some individuals that have been in hospice care, end-of-life care for several years, and it's been hearing their stories, like how they ended up homeless, like how they ended up in the position. A lot of them do have families and people in their lives, but those people can't afford to help them and care for them, or just don't have the resources to be able to do it. And Welcome Home kind of comes behind them and supports this person that otherwise would maybe have nowhere to go. And I think it's just really observing how much these folks are truly loved as people. That makes that place really, really special, and just getting to know some of these folks. And yes, there have been deaths since I've been there, and that's been hard, but in most cases I've been able to kind of witness a very beautiful passing where these people are surrounded by people who are keeping vigil over them in their last hours. Like, none of those people die alone, which is really quite moving and special. So even
That's
when
beautiful.
you have to say goodbye to somebody, it's in a really beautiful, peaceful way. So,
Wow, yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So kind of the next question would be, I mean, as the church body, we have done a couple of things there. If people would want to maybe volunteer individually, what are some of the things that they might be able to do?
Well, there's an opportunity, like with what I do, I'm considered a companion, so I just go there for 4 hours every other week, and I just sit with the residents. I'm just a friend. I just go there and I talk to people who are up for talking. Sometimes we do little field trips and we go to like Dollar Tree or Walmart or something like that if they're up for shopping. So I just get to kind of be there and socialize and learn about them and give them a chance to talk. Some of these folks have really not had very many people show interest in them, or they haven't had access to conversation like that. So it's actually really fun to get to know people that way. But if you don't have that much time to give, there's other ways. Like they have a go-go program, which is basically like every week Michelle sends out a list of appointments, doctor's appointments that the folks have throughout the week. And if you just want to be somebody that can provide a ride one way to those doctor's appointments, you can just sign up. It's like through Sign Up Genius, basically, like what we use. There's also a meal program where if you want to just cook a meal for the folks there, you can volunteer once a month or so to provide a meal. Sometimes if you don't have to necessarily stay if you don't want to, you can just drop it off, but we find that a lot of the volunteers like to stay and prepare the meal and plate everything for the folks. And some folks are not feeling well, so you maybe have to go and deliver the meal to their to one of the homes and stuff. But those are probably the main ways. Or you could just donate. Like a lot of times they have needs for specific supplies. Some of the residents do. So if you have more money than time, you can always do that too. They'd welcome it.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like there's lots of opportunity. As a follow-up to opportunity, on your calendars, if you will mark March the 8th, that is going to be our next Deep Well Service Sabbath. And so we are actually going to be serving the people at Welcome Home. We've kind of are already talking about ideas. One of the things that we would like to do for them, they have a beautiful outdoor patio space, but it is not very well lit, and so we would like to put up some party lights for them. So that's one of the things that we're going to do. And I think also we're going to be, was suggested from them that they would like us to plant some bulbs for them. And so when springtime rolls around, we can have some flowers in the area for them to enjoy. So make sure that you put that on your calendar. We'll give you more information when that time starts coming. But, we truly believe in our mission statements, and we want to be a church that is practicing compassion and even taking time outside of this particular time when we might gather together and have a worship-filled experience like we have this morning. It's a wonderful thing to be able to take that and give that to others. Is there anything that you additionally want to share that I didn't ask about this morning?
No, but they are really excited about the patio lights.
Okay, awesome.
I was there yesterday, and they're like jumping up and down. So
awesome.
Good call on that.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jenny, so much for being our first contestant on Show and Well. Coming this next week, check your email, check Church Center. We are going to be putting a link for a Google form for you to say, hey, this person I know is doing something at the well, and you should interview them. Because we want to do more of this and talk about how we are participating in practicing compassion throughout the week, and also maybe finding more ways in which we can do life together to do that. And so be paying attention for that link, and we will be doing this more often from here so we can all know what's going on. Again, thank you, Jenny, for doing what you're doing and for sharing this morning.
you.